As a lighting designer here at Next Stop, I help create the visual atmosphere along with the other designers for the productions. I also am the lead electrician here on staff, so I make sure that all the lights turn on and any lighting accessories that need to turn on. A typical day probably walks in with me checking in with the technical director and making sure that I can hang lights and not hurt any of the scenic members or be in anyone's way. Or I'll check on the status of the set and if there are any practicals, which are lighting instruments or LED tape, that I can implement those. And once I get that out of the way, I'll go and start hanging instruments and rewiring and circuiting things so that they turn on. I was always interested in theater growing up, and my family could tell you that. When I was in elementary school, I really wanted to perform, and as I got older, I really did not want to do that. And when I was in high school, I took like a Theater 1 class, and then I had a really good friend who was an upperclassman who encouraged me to tag along and learn about lighting and stage management, and I was super enthralled by that world and helping get the show running and keep it going. And there was one moment where I was designing a show where in the middle of the show, I was running the light board and keeping the lights going in the show, and my theater teacher came up to me and was like, "This is such a good moment you've designed. Like, I love the storytelling that the lights do." I didn't know if I could go into theater after college or after high school, and that really gave me the confidence of, oh, maybe I do have a skill that could give me a career that I want to do, and that was really inspiring. So I went to Baylor University and I got a Bachelor's of Fine Art in Technical Design and Production for theater. My education there was super, super helpful, and I use it daily. I took a lot of classes I probably would never have gotten to do in a professional work environment. Like, I learned how to weld and I learned how to rig sets, which is like hanging things safely. You don't necessarily have to go that route if you get enough work experience or hands-on experience taking gigs or stagehand work, or even reaching out for mentorships and apprenticeships. You can definitely go that route as well.
If you ever want to do lighting, you need to have a crescent wrench with you to tighten the lights up on the bars. We have wire strippers that we'll use when we're doing any sort of electrical work with like the practicals or for the LED tape. It's kind of like a small chunk of the rainbow wire. But it'll give directions with a decoder how the LED tape should work, how high the green should be, how high the red should be, how high the blue should be, and how much white there should be. And that helps us manually like color mix the LED tape. I have a flashlight because it gets dark. I have a headlamp because sometimes I don't have a hand to use my flashlight. A lot of the LED stuff to power these LED tapes are underneath the stage, so the headlamp helped me in the abyss that is down there. A multi-tool, if you're ever becoming a stagehand, a wise stagehand told me I should have one of these, so I bought one, and I use it all the time. So there are two different types of lights. There are incandescent lights and the LEDs, the light emitting diode color mixing ones. So the incandescent lights can't change color, and so we'll use what we call gel to put in front of the light, and that will change the tint of those fixtures. So that will stay the same the whole show, but that's kind of the choice of the designers. Okay, what colors do I need the whole show? Designer's got to make a decision. Hopefully you've made the right one for what your show needs. There's a whole world of gobos you can buy out there, and they're pretty much like little cookie cutters for light, and you put them in and it changes the shapes that come out of it. And so this can really amplify the visual atmosphere. I use this or a similar Construction-X gobo for this show, and I use that for when we meet the Queen of Hearts, and it's the construction, the geometric lines feel very hard in Wonderland, and so that kind of helps with the visual storytelling and the atmosphere. These are a lighting designer's best friend.
I think some people don't realize just how much time will go into a show, production-wise and artistically, when we're creating how a show wants to look. That can go from 2 to 3 months prior to opening night. There's a lot of communication and collaboration with the director and their vision and what other designers can bring to the table. And you go from that and then you scale it to the budget or the constraints you have, and so there is a lot of time that goes into it. First step, believe in yourself. It might feel scary thinking about how vast the entertainment world is, But with that being said, there are so many people that help make it happen. There's stage managers, there's people who help build the set, carpenters. There are artisans that help make the props look so real and beautiful. Wig makers, production managers, tour managers, spotlight operators. So do not feel like you're limited in the scope of what you can immediately see, because there is so much out there that you can go and pursue, and they would love to have you.